If everybody was that smiley and happy at 6 o'clock in the morning.
You have to get there at 4:30.
Is that time?
Guys, want to call the meeting in order? Call the meeting in order. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Jen.
Okay. Mr. Henderson?
Here.
Mr. Hendricks?
Here.
Mr. Duco?
Here.
Mr. Rowley?
Here.
Mr. Jennings?
Here. I get a motion for a thorough review and approval of the minutes from last month.
Motion. Second.
Any questions, comments, edits, corrections? Jen, roll call, please.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes. I will pass it to you now.
Okay. Treasurer's report, we have bills, accounts payable, as well as financial reports, which contain the board reports. Some donations, we had $100 from the American Legion for a ski club, and a $500 donation from John and Christine Conrad for the Dr. Paul Conrad Memorial Scholarship, and $50 from the Ladies Auxiliary of the VFW for girls basketball, and a couple of activity budgets that we accidentally left off last month. Key Club, Middle School Literature, Spanish Club, Band, Volleyball Supplemental, and Basketball.
Can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Motion. Second.
Any questions for Jen?
Jen, I have one question on the art club supplement. I believe it's the supplemental. It's like a negative balance. Is that because they've paid money for that New York trip or the fundraiser?
A lot of times what happens with those accounts are we make deposits and the receipts haven't hit them, that account yet. But it's more of a timing issue. Because I know at the end of the month she had to make a check, and I know that Mrs. Mitchell was still collecting some of those deposits, those trip deposits. So this month, when we make those receipts, it'll be back in the black. It's just more of a timing issue. Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Just checking the clipboard. Everybody signed up. Is anyone wanting to throw a comment on or a question? Well, there will be no public participation at this moment. Now let's go to old business.
None.
None. It does say that, doesn't it?
It does say that.
All right. Do we have a student achievement?
We do. The following were winners of the 2014 Americanism test, sponsored by the American Legion. In 10th grade, it was Caitlin Lewis and Mark Kelvin. In 11th grade, it was Steve Burnham and Avery Woollett. And in 12th grade, it was Eric Grusecki and Mitchell Baker. And Trent Ferry was the student athlete of the week, and we try to keep athletics separate from this, but when it's the student athlete of the week, that's probably a nice exception. So.
Yeah. It's half academics and half
Yes. And that concludes the student achievement.
Thanks, Barney. Now we go to new business. Mr. Neal.
Okay, I'm going to do A and B together, personnel and supplemental contracts, retirement request from Ted Carchetti, effective June 1st, the basketball workers for the additional for the 2014-15 season, and contracts for the current school year for play director, baseball, assistant varsity track, and junior high track.
Motion.
Second, please.
Second.
Any questions on A and B?
I was just going to make a couple comments first. One is very happy to have those workers. We said this before, it's hard to get people to work at the athletic events, and I appreciate those people stepping up and helping out. Trevor Greenfield's play director, we had left that off in May. No one had applied at the time, so he took there. Steve Dawson Mr. McElduff and Mr. Radinsky did, I believe, 4 interviews for the head baseball coach. And Mr. Dawson was a former head coach at East Liverpool and Beaver Local. And that's all I have.
A roll call, please, Jen.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to do, there's nothing in D, so I'm going to do C and E and F together. Approve the substitute bus driver as well as the substitute teacher for the 14-15 school year. Lastly, to take their team picture in the gym on December 1st. And the OSBA annual membership subscription. And lastly, the attached addendum for the LEA contract for 2014 to 2017.
Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Questions?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll go through that.
You want to elaborate?
Yeah, I was going to go through. First, getting another bus driver. We talked about how difficult that is. So we're very happy to have that, as well as substitute teachers. The addendum to the LEA contract is going from days to hours. Something that we didn't discuss during the negotiations, but as we get closer, we discussed it, and we talked to ODE, and Lisa's been working with Access to change that. It does not change the number of school days. It's 184 with 2 conference, 2 parent-teacher conferences, 2 and 4 in-services, I should say. So, but it'll just be on hours rather than days.
Any questions for Mr. Miano? Quiet group. Roll call, please, Jen.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
And lastly, G is the library board business, the retirement request from Charlene Hall, who has been a trustee for 28 years, and approved Joe Marks as the new trustee in her place.
Motion.
Second, please.
Second.
Any questions on G? Roll call, please, Jen.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Okay, superintendent's report. As I said today, as I walked around, it's hard to believe it's the last board meeting of 2014. I wish everybody a happy and healthy holiday season. And as we start 2015 soon, the outstanding achievements of our students and staff during the past year shine brightly. You know, we look back, 2 of our staff members were recognized for their excellence in education. I keep going back to this because I want to, we keep talking about this and we want to shed light on it that, earlier in the year the district was honored for a value-added score. Our value-added score placed Leetonia as one of the top 100 Ohio school districts for the 3rd year in a row. This year we ranked 77th, better than last year's mark of 85th. And Leetonia was the only Columbiana County school ranked in the top 100 schools out of over 800 community and public school districts. So we're very proud of that. Then with the latest data coming out about performance index, we always say we've improved performance index each year, the past 4 years, the past 5 years. Well, a study came out to talk about what is the biggest gains in performance index for the 616 public school districts. And out of 616, we finished 13th overall. So once again, another stride in the past 5 years as the performance index has increased 7 points over for that time period. Tonight, though, even more impressive to me, recognize the continued generosity of our students and staff. Since the last board meeting 29 days ago, these are the things that our students and staff have done. And I talked about a lot of the stuff we did earlier with the 5K runs, but just in 29 days. They did a turkey trot to purchase turkeys for the food pantry at St. Patrick's Church. The National Honor Society did a blood drive. The students collected a donation on National Diabetes Day for Juvenile Diabetes Foundation. The Coins for Kids campaign was started, and I think did it finish up this week? I think it's continuing. It's still going on.
I think they finished up this week.
Is it done? And Mrs. Stelz, we continue to monitor the backpack program. We have about 60 to 70 students that get a backpack through the Big Reach that get food for the weekend for some of our students and their families. So it's great to talk about the academics. We're very proud of it, but also the generosity of our students and staff, to me, is overwhelming. And I promised Kevin that's the last time that I will get up here and pound the desk about how good. Like I said, I told the class today. I told it. Sometimes we need to celebrate all the things we've done, and you get into a rut sometimes. And I just can't thank the staff enough.
Right?
No, I mean, you get in a rut every day and you forget to celebrate.
Oh, I think you're in a rut of celebrating.
No, you forget to celebrate and think, you hear about all these things, this district or that district, or what's going on. But student athlete of the week, the smallest school in the county, one of the smallest in the area, student athlete is from Leetonia. There's only 26 of them a year, and one's from our school. We talk about 13th out of 616 districts. And I can't thank the staff enough. And I said this from the first day. This staff is work. Their compassion for children and their desire to excel is just beyond anything you would ever believe. So I want to thank the staff and for their efforts. In 2012 or 2013, we investigated several ways to save money, and some was windmills, and we talked about LED, and Mr. Martin was with us then. And he and Ron are going to join us tonight. We looked at several projects, and I'll let them explain. The LED lighting, we're talking about the lighting, and eventually we're going to have to go to LED. It looks like, however, what I'd like to discuss very quickly is the cost is always a concern. And we'll talk about the funding. We talked about, last time we talked about doing one room, and we looked at looking maybe at one section. We have 4 bills. One's the locker room, one's the stadium, one's the outside, and one's the K-12 campus. And the K-12 campus is split into 2 bills, right, Jen? So that
No.
part of it is into the cafeteria fund?
It's one bill, but when I pay it,
Well,
I
you pay
split
it.
it from 2 funds.
Yeah, that's what, okay. So, yeah, you split it. So there's really only 4 bills, correct? So they're all pretty big projects to do if we isolated an area. Well, the stadium, but no one's down there to use it right now, so we wouldn't really be able to tell. So I wanted to talk to Mr. Jennings as board president and said, let's discuss those options. And with that, I'll hand it over to Mr. Martin and Ron, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. We really appreciate you guys having us in. And I think Ron is going to go ahead and speak first.
Okay.
So,
Well, very good. Do you usually stand or they sit or?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Oh, okay. But we appreciate the opportunity to to you the information. It's our understanding everyone's interested in saving money, and now today they want to have better lighting as well. And there is no question that LED lighting is going to be the lighting of the future. I'm just curious, is there anyone around the table that has any experience with LED lighting at this point? Anything you know about it or don't know about it? Other than what it is? Do you know what LED stands for?
Light emitting diode.
Right, okay, all right. And but I want to make sure everybody doesn't feel it. What is it? They've heard about it. But what we know is that LED lighting is going to be the future. And I'd like to provide you information tonight that will allow you to make a good business decision. And that's really what we're looking at, is making a decision that is in the best interest of the school. We know for a fact that in the next handful of years, all lighting is going to change, without a doubt. There is pending federal legislation. There's 55 energy bills on the Senate floor now. Well, now we know, because of a few weeks ago, those energy bills are going to be passed next year. When, we don't know. Well, one of the energy bills, though, does have lighting specifications. And there's many energy savings items in this energy bill. The only lighting that will qualify in the future for any energy bills whatsoever is LED lighting named in the bill. When this bill passes, what it will mean is that it will mark the beginning of the end of fluorescent lighting. Okay. Obviously, we're not going to put a date or time on it. It'll mark the beginning of the end. So we know that all business and industry is going to have to change their lighting. And for a business that pays taxes, all tax considerations, they have to have LED lighting. And so we know for a fact that the lighting is going to change. And we have an opportunity now, though, to take advantage of the finest lighting available today in the country.
And that's where my company comes in, and that's Titan LED. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about Titan LED, because I think you do need to know who the company is. Our home base is Simi Valley, California. And at the moment, we are considered the premier LED company in the United States. Titan LED is an original equipment manufacturer. We are the manufacturer. And I'm very clear in pointing out what we're not. We are not a distributor, we're not a vendor, we're not a supplier. You are dealing directly with the company, with us. And we believe that makes a very, very big difference because we control the quality of the product and the warranty and the service. And that all goes through Titan LED. Inc. Magazine's just named us one of the fastest companies in the United States growing. And the reason for that is very clear. Titan LED is the only American company with our line of American-made products. We have no direct competition. We get a lot of people telling me, well, I'm going to go online and find something cheaper. Right? Yeah, you go online, you always find something cheaper. But you're not going to find another American manufacturer with anything close to the quality that we have. Well, I'll go to my friendly distributor. We've been dealing with them for 30 years. Well, they do not have access to our products. We don't sell to distributors. We sell directly to the end user. That's how we go to market with an exclusive marketing team. We're sales consultants under Titan Marketing, and that is what we do. You can always find something cheaper. You'll never find anything better. And our point is very clear. If you're going to change lighting, which we know is going to happen, why wouldn't you want to go with an American company with the highest rated American products? And we believe that counts for something. I didn't have it in my notes, but I just made a quick trip to Houston with one of my sales consultants, talked to a $50 billion company, and giving them the presentation. I was very, very disappointed. I spent a lot of money at the last minute just for 20 minutes to have him tell me he didn't care where the thing was made. They just wanted to buy something cheap. And I did mind my manners, was very polite, but obviously that's, we have too many other companies out there that believe that, let's support American companies with American quality. And that's where we come in. We have the highest rated products in the industry, and that's without exception. And every technical claim that we make, we have laboratory testing reports back up everything we say. I'm going to encourage anyone to go on the website, take a look at Titan LED. When you do, you'll see our president next to Jay Lenham. He's our spokesperson, if you will, because we just retrofitted his entire car garage in California with Titan lighting. And he's very, very pleased with those lights. We're the exclusive provider for CBS. When they do the Super Bowl, it's our lights that CBS buys for all their Super Bowl locations. When they did the last Super Bowl in New Orleans and the lights went out, Titan lights were the ones that they stayed on, and they're the ones that they used. And we're real pleased with that. We're the exclusive provider for the Air Force, for Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, Japan, because our lights are worldwide. They can be used anywhere in the world. But the question is it worth having quality if we can keep within the budget? And what we're proposing is a project that we can retrofit the entire school with no new money coming out of your budget, because we have an exclusive lease-to-own program. So it's just a question of deciding what's the best direction to go in. And what we say is we're looking at quality. Just a quick story. If you're familiar with Cleveland, Ohio, one of the largest building management companies is called Forest City Management. I don't know if you ever heard of Forest City Management, but I gave Forest City a presentation. They had already bought through their distributor 4-foot tubes for one of their facilities, the Halley building, where downtown Cleveland, where the Horseshoe Casino is. and they'd already bought 4-foot tubes. And they invited Titan in because they'd heard about our quality. They weren't happy with what they had. Presentation showed them the light. They said, wow, we like what we see, but let's be fair, let's compare it to what we have. Well, fair enough. They plugged our light in, and they liked what they saw. They plugged their light in, it sparked, smoked, and burned out right in front of them.
Good timing.
And I said, now, you can spend half the money, and this is what you get. Or you can go with American Quality. They bought 90 lights on their first order, and they're in the Halley building right now as we speak. Even though they just sold the building, but the new owner's going to have Titan LED lighting in it. This is our tube. Okay? This is the finest 4-foot tube. And the reason why we say it's fine, let's just give you just a quick understanding from this to this. All right? This typical 4-foot fluorescent gives off heat, gives off UV rays, contains mercury, contains hazardous materials, dangerous when they break. They degrade 15% after the first 1,000 hours, 8 to 10,000 hours a lifetime. They get black ends, they flicker, they burn out, give everybody headaches. What we'll do, and they're a 32-watt tube that requires a ballast, and a ballast takes a minimum of 20 watts. The older the ballast, more energy it requires. So we're talking 32 plus 20, and that's conservative. And what we'll do is replace it with an American-made Titan LED tube. The design is patented, unique. That gives off no heat, no UV rays, contains no mercury, no hazardous materials. You can't break this tube. You can bang it as hard as you want on the table, it will not break. It is a 16-watt tube that puts out twice the light. It will not degrade 15% in the first 102,000 hours. Its rated life is 102,000 hours, meaning you'll get another 80 to 100,000 hours before requiring any replacement. But that means when you install this light, you don't have to worry about replacing for the next 30 years, without question. This light has 99 diodes, or LED chips, whatever you like, the nomenclature, but it has 99 diodes right down the center. These are 100% American-made diodes made by a company called Lumiled Philips in California. Lumiled Philips, which was a division of Philips Lighting International out of the Netherlands. Philips Lighting is the largest lighting company in the world, but they just spun off Lumiled as a separate company all on its own. The Lumiled Philips does manufacture in this country the finest LED chips available. They're graded from Tier 1 to Tier 4, Tier 1 being the finest. This is the only LED light that has a Tier 1 LED chip in it. There's no other manufacturer that does it. Why? Because it's cost. They'd rather go cheap. And the Titan LED decided they're going to go quality, and so we have the finest LED chip with Philips Lumiled. Titan LED is the only American LED company has a written partnership with Lumiled Philips for technology. And that's why when they work together in producing chips that meet our specifications. And the construction and our proprietary construction is such that this light will provide you the maximum energy savings and better illumination. And LED lighting is a more healthy lighting. I think Bob's going to address that a little bit. But it's a more healthy lighting and better for students all the way around. I do want to just take a quick second just so that you can see what I'm talking about. What I would like to suggest is it's up to yourself, but when I'm done and Bob is done, we'd like to ask you to, maybe take 2 minutes, and I've got 2 lights to plug in at the same time. This is a day white clear. We also have a natural white clear. But I'd like you to come up and take advantage. I want you to touch them, feel them, and
Well, we can do that. We can do that now while you're.
oh, okay.
That's everyone.
All right. Whoa, is that bright enough for you? Oh, well, that's why I try to Not, okay. This is our 4-foot LED tube. It puts out more lumens per watt than any light in the industry. Now, what we're saying, though, is that we've made a preliminary inventory, and we've counted all the lights. We know exactly how many lights you have in this building. Anybody want to guess? Anybody know?
700.
Yeah, you have over 4,000 4-foot tubes. Okay?
How many are working?
All right. Bob and I, we personally counted each one, by the way. And so it's over 4,000. Well, what we know is that in many areas, you've got 3 tube fixtures. Well, we know that because of the brightness of our light, we can reduce that to 2 tubes, providing you better lighting and more energy saving. Oh, people kind of take does that, you see the difference in lighting? Now, this is called day white clear. This light's not going to change in color for 100,000 hours. Okay, it stays the same. Without heat, without UV rays, without any mercury, same fixtures. We replace the ballast with a driver. This is called a driver. The purpose of the driver is to allow the LEDs to perform at maximum capacity. It also has dimming capabilities if anyone wanted to dim the lights. I don't think you have that here, but it does have the capability of being dimmed.
How many hours are you going to get on that? How many hours on your tube?
100,000.
Oh, its rated life is 102,000 hours.
102,000. How about the driver?
100,000 to right. It works the same. Yes. Okay.
So it's 10 times with.
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. But now, when you talk rated life, all right, remember that doesn't mean the light's going to turn out at 100,000 hours. No, that just means that the lighting is not going to degrade 10 to 15% for the first 100,000 hours. All right, you're still going to have usable light for another 80 to 100,000 hours. All right, before you would need to consider.
If something happened and burned out before the 100,000 hours, is it guaranteed then?
We have a 5-year warranty.
5-year.
5-year warranty. We have the finest warranty in the LED industry. And what that means that it's 100% warranty for any manufacturing defect. Meaning, if as little as one diode were to expire within the 5-year warranty period, Titan will consider the entire product a 100% failure and replace it at no cost to yourself. Okay? And we will match that with anyone else. And that's why we do encourage the looking at the website, learning more about the company. And we're going to provide, we have written information for everybody as well. Okay? Anyone have a question on this tube at the moment? Any? Okay. And now, our warranty, the tube. What we're proposing is a lease-to-own program. Why would you want to write out a check when you can lease it and have your energy savings pay for the lease? Now, ballpark figures, just so you have an idea of where we're coming from. We've estimated that if we were to retrofit the entire school, okay, indoor area, we can reduce your monthly energy costs by $5,000. We already know that based on the preliminary inventory with a 1-for-1 replacement, the monthly lease will be a little over $4,000, probably between $4,000 and $4,500. In other words, based on our preliminary numbers, we believe that we can retrofit the school and keep within your present budget without putting out new money. It's a 5-year lease-to-own program. And what we're asking for tonight is a couple of things. And the first thing is I did well, a week ago, in anticipation of the meeting, I got a preliminary, a free interest rate for the school. Okay. And the bank said that we'll hold on to this interest rate, but we'll give you, a week to get things turned in. I was hoping to get the paperwork turned in a few days ago, but it was suggested to wait till this meeting tonight. But what I am asking is for your approval to the superintendent to do a preliminary, a pre-approval for the lease paperwork to lock in your interest rate. There's no cost and absolutely no obligations. You're not buying anything, there's no money, and all it's going to do is lock in an interest rate to a total figure, and that's all it does. And the point is, at that point, I'm also going to ask that you allow the superintendent to select a classroom so we can retrofit one classroom, and half the classroom will have 3 tubes in a fixture, the other half will have 2 tubes in a fixture. Now then, we'll have a period of time for everyone to evaluate what do you think is best. In other words, 2 tubes or 3 tubes. And then, based on that evaluation, Bob and myself will perform a complete second inventory, and then we can come to the next board meeting and give you a final presentation of the total program, and again, based on input. In other words, now you've had a chance to see the lights in the ceiling and decide whether you think 2 tubes or 3 tubes will be better in the areas. The hallways are all 2 tubes, but in the classrooms, they're all 3-tube fixtures, and for any classrooms that we go from 3 to 2, it's even more energy savings. And so from the time frame, what we're looking at is there's no decision being asked for until the next board meeting, either January or even February, depending upon retrofitting the classroom. And so this is a major program. We take it seriously. We want to be a partner with the school, and we want it done the right way.
So I didn't read my paperwork. I apologize.
Yeah.
Was it $8,000 to retrofit? What was it to retrofit the classroom? Remember what that was? I have it in my book at my office.
It was somewhere between 6
and 8.
Yeah,
In there. Okay.
it wasn't that much just to do one classroom. Right.
How many years is the lease for?
5.
Did they have an interest rate they were telling you that we would be at?
4.3.
Okay.
In other words, they can't guarantee that. Again, we all know the volatility of financial institutions, and all I'd like to do with your approval is to lock in that interest rate. And so there's no obligation, there's no cost, but by allowing us to get a pre-approval to the school, then we come back with all the final numbers. Regardless of what direction is desired, you've already been approved and you got to lock in interest rate. And that also allows a couple of weeks for any of you to investigate, come up with questions, concerns, anything that we can address for you. And looking at the big picture. All the lighting is going to be replaced. We have a solution for that. And think about, just think about yourselves being a showcase school. You would be the only high school in the state of Ohio doing what we're doing. Okay, you would be a showcase. You just mentioned a list of achievements that you were number 13 out of a list. Well, when it comes to energy conservation and better lighting, you're going to be number 1 without any question whatsoever. And our sales are made by our sales consultants sitting down with the decision maker. We don't sell to Lowe's, we don't sell to distributors. That's why doesn't everybody do it? Well, that's just not how, If you know all the other superintendents, let me know. I'll be glad to sit down with them. Right? We have some experience with schools. Locally, the closest one would be LeBray, that A.J. Calderon, the superintendent up there. We retrofitted the entire parking lot with our lights up there. But as I say, we've got a national reputation for excellence. And it's all with honesty, integrity. That's why we're saying all we want to do is get you approved. Then we can retrofit a classroom, decide what direction is best for everybody to go in. And then come back at the next board meeting, which would either be January or, depending upon the retrofitting, maybe March. Well, so now you can see the time frame. If we started to do the whole project, we're not going to be able to even start until next March, April retrofitting. Just think, all I can say is every month that is fully retrofitted, we could start saving the system $5,000 a month. It's estimated that over the next 10 years, we could save the school system about $500,000, and that's conservative. And
How many days a year, hours per day is that based on, as far as running the lights?
10 hours a day.
For 200 days or 365?
It's not based on that. It's based on hours.
I understand. No, I know, but in the duration of a year, because per month, 12 months a year, is that based on 10 hours a day, 365 days a year, lights running? Because that's...
You mean
the only... Yeah, the savings that you're calculating.
Oh, I did it strictly based upon what you're currently spending on electricity and energy savings. In other words, I already know what you're spending on electricity, and we took a portion of that was due to lighting, and a portion, and what we can guarantee is a 60% savings of energy. And we applied that to your current electric usage, and that's where we came up with our numbers.
What time frame did you use for that usage?
1 year. It's all based on a year. Okay, now on a year's use.
So I was just trying to approach it the other direction.
Oh, okay.
With the kilowatt hours and the 3252 versus 16 times 3.
No, quite honestly, I'd like to keep it a little more simple, based on a year's usage.
Yeah, but I'm an engineer, so...
I knew there was a reason for that. Okay. But that's another reason for taking the time, do a classroom, and allow you to come up, because I can honestly tell you, there's not a question about LED lights that we can't answer for you.
So why would you recommend 3 or test 3? You said they're twice the output.
Because...
Twice the output, half the power, so you would effectively double the brightness of the roof.
Yeah.
Versus go up 40%.
Right.
So...
Well, because it's your choice. In other words, currently there's 3 tubes.
Right.
Well, we want you to let us know whether you want to go 3 tubes or whether you feel 2 tubes will get the job done, which will save even more money. All right? We're not going to tell you what you ought to have. We want you to see for yourself. Okay? And that's the reason for doing a test area. Take a look at it. Okay.
All of us that answer to constituents, I mean, that's what we do. We represent them. I mean, the product sounds wonderful, but the nuts and bolts of life, I'm curious of something. Say if we're spending $15,000 a month on electric, okay, and we're looking to save $5,000 per year. And I understand how you're doing your balance sheet where, we should be $500 in the black after all said and done per month. Let's fast forward to like 17 months from now. So we're well over a year away. And Jennifer and we're all having a meeting, and it's deep in January, and no one's here at the meeting, and Jennifer says, well, Richard says, well, it's 17 months into the project, how much money are we saving? And she says, well, it's averaging about $2,800 a month. Now, if we found ourselves in that situation, is there a way to get out of the lease? Because we're going to, for us to accept this, we have to go to the people, and we have to say, we're going to save you $5,000 a month off a $15,000 a month bill. You're going to have $500 in your pocket from a lease. And hopefully the lease is going to, these lights that you'd be putting in will get 10 years on or 11 years on, so...
30.
Well, that'd be wonderful. So once you go past 5 years, you're really making money.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where you're really
correct.
making money.
That's correct.
Have you ever seen before in the past, and I'm sure the applications have been more for retail or industry, I would imagine. Schools are probably a little bit newer for you. Now, what percentage of the people, when you say, well, you're going to have X amount of savings, is it, are you usually hitting that number? I guess
Absolutely, without question.
Would you say almost 100% of the time?
Absolutely.
What he's asking is we love guarantees, so you're going to
Yeah.
guarantee the $5,000 a month.
Well, I'm not going to guarantee, but I'm going to say you based on generally accepted principles, yes. All right. In other words, it could be more if we do 2 tubes instead of 3.
But the thing is it goes back to his $2,800. That means the school's required to make up $2,200 a month.
No.
If the savings, then you guaranteed it.
No. In other words, what we'll guarantee is that if we did the whole school,
Yes.
the energy savings will pay for the lease.
And the thing is, and his question
Okay.
was, you're guaranteeing that it's $5,000 a month in savings, and you just said no.
Well, no, I can do that. Simple math is going to tell me that.
So if we don't,
Yeah.
so if
Yeah.
we do this whole project and we sign up for it over a 5-year lease, and the school's required to come up with another $2,200 a month because the energy
No, okay, go ahead.
because the energy savings isn't there, who makes up the $2,200 to get to the?
Well, it's never happened. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have that difference.
Or are you going to be, is this going to be billed at a flat rate per month, or is it going to be billed as some sort of net deduction from the previous price per month less?
It's a lease.
It's a
Do we
lease.
pay $5,000 a month?
You pay, it depends how many fixtures they put in.
Right.
You know, whatever.
In this scenario,
Right.
how do you get paid? How do we pay them lease? Is
Oh,
it
it's
paid
just-
It would be, it would be set up through a bank, and we would make
Right.
a monthly payment to
a
the bank.
fixed
Yes.
payment amount per month?
Yes.
And
With
the savings would go in there, and you take the savings for the first 5
I
years.
still would, I'd be
to make the
paying
payment.
2 bills. I'd be paying a lease
Right.
bill, and I'd be paying an electric
Electric
bill. But
But the
it's
electric bill
assuming the
then-
electric bill would be down where the lease payment would be up.
And that's what we're worried about, the safety net, because
Right.
you're saying that $4,500 a month would cover the entire campus. So in an ideal world,
Right.
it should whitewash.
That's exactly the point. In other words,
Hopefully it's an ideal world, though.
well, no, but when you're looking at the difference in the products, number one, you're going from 32 plus 20, 50 watts to 16. This is at 16 watts. Simple math shows you an energy savings that is guaranteed. I'll guarantee the energy savings without any question. I'll guarantee that the energy savings across the board will be over 60%. Okay.
Another little weird question. I know as far as regular electric goes, when I deal with maintenance guys, they're always complaining about the ballast burning out.
Yes.
Is the driver the quality that the
Yes.
actual tube is? I mean, have you had problems with the driver? What's
No,
the
we
life
haven't.
expectancy of
The
that?
same as the tube.
Same as the tube.
Right, it's not like a ballast. The ballast and a driver are two different objects.
What makes them so different?
Well,
The power actually goes right through the driver, okay?
Does it give it a boost then from the wall to the?
it's like a step-down transformer. In layman's terms, like a step-down transformer. What the driver takes, 110 coming in, and it's a 12-volt direct going out.
Yeah, there's no wattage used by this
There's
driver.
no wattage used by the driver.
Okay.
This
It doesn't
actually
get
is
hot.
it's a 42 watt, it says 42 watt on it. That just means it'll take up to 42 watts of power through it, which two 16 watt bulbs is 32 watts.
So you can or can't use that one with a 3-light relay
We have a
system?
3-channel driver.
There's a 3-channel driver for 3 bulbs.
Right. And we have a 4-channel driver.
For 4 bulbs.
Okay, right.
So your quick math then, was that assuming bulb for bulb replacement, or was that
Yes.
assuming a
No,
2
that
for
was
3?
strictly 1 for 1.
Okay.
And that's why we say as a result of the test, when there's no question that we'll be reducing the number of lights, increasing the savings.
Okay, so then the 5,000 becomes less,
Yeah.
also,
That's-
2/3 of,
Yeah. That's
plus or
correct.
minus.
All the numbers.
Plus the
come down.
ballast, I guess,
Right.
yeah, okay.
Okay, all the numbers come down. That is correct.
If this was done without the finance program, without the 5-year lease, if it was just a company paying you project costs to do this, what would the cost of this project be?
It's about $240,000.
Plus interest.
No, that's what he said, if you just read.
Yeah, if we
Oh,
paid direct.
well, yeah, 270 with the through.
If you wanted to write it, if you wanted to write a check, it was, the preliminary numbers were $244,000. But we know that's going to come down.
That's equipment plus install.
No,
Okay,
that's
so
strictly,
does the lease include install?
no, it does not.
Okay, what is that? And who's qualified to do the install?
In-house staff is qualified.
Ballast exchange and,
Yeah.
well, the bulb is easy, but
Yes. Right. We're not changing fixtures. All we're doing is they're going in, they're cutting out all the wires, take out the ballast, screw in a driver, and...
so over here, we'd have to calculate what install cost would be, whether it's
But it's
parts or,
in-house.
right. Well, but it's still an hour cost
Right,
per hour.
but there's no power to the end.
Right.
See? All the power comes from the driver to the cord, not to the ends, and they just slip in and they're in place.
How long would it take to do this room?
Do one whole classroom?
Yeah.
2 hours at the most, if not less. Because this only takes a couple minutes. This is, to a qualified electrician, this is 5 minutes.
It's the ballast rewiring.
But there's,
Yeah, well, we don't know.
okay?
Yeah, I put it in my basement and I did it myself,
Okay.
and I'll tell you, it's really simple.
Okay.
You just take the ballast out, you replace it with this. This here gets wired directly to your power source, and you plug your light in with this pigtail, and that's it.
You're
It's
done.
very simple.
That's 8 minutes a fixture.
Right.
We'll probably assume 20 minutes a fixture.
But once they've done it, it is a very, very simple retrofit. The nice thing is you've got 4-foot tubes. All right. In other words, you don't have any exotic fixtures. It's all standard. And we've already talked with your staff, and they've got no challenges at the moment. They know exactly what they need to do. But that's where our service comes in as well. We believe in honesty, integrity, and service. And so I wanted you to know that that's our time comes with this. In other words, I want to bring up Bob Martin, and because he is from this area, and I want him to cover a couple of comments that I have missed. But Bob?
I have a couple. I have one. Just two more things. I'm a little bit. I need some clarification on the 3 versus 2.
Okay.
If we would go with 2 lights, I would think that the cost of the lease would come down.
It does. It does.
It does.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
So it'd be down to like 3,700,
Oh, yeah.
3,800.
So
Oh,
the
yes.
5,000 becomes 37.
Yeah.
I thought you were counting that
No.
as
All the.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
One-for-one
Okay.
replacement.
And then the
Yes.
other thing is, have you done any investigation, or have you thought anything, or have you looked at, are there any grants available for this area, being that we're in the Appalachian
That-
District?
well,
Have you done any research on
But
that?
we haven't. Remember, we're an original equipment manufacturer. I'm not in the grant
Okay.
business. But that is the other reason for saying, let's get you pre-approved. We're not making any decisions on buying anything. But now we're going to have a period of 4 weeks or more where we can investigate any grants that you may qualify for. I'm not familiar. I know that there are grants out there, but that is something the school or yourselves would have more information on. But then, because what we're saying is that if we start out with the lease-to-own program, but you get a grant to cover it, well, you can opt out of the lease at any time without penalty. In other words, and so if you got a grant next year, say, well, we got a grant, we'll just pay off everything. You can. There's no penalty. Okay, for that.
Thank you.
Okay. But so go ahead. Yes, correct.
With 102,000 hours, why wouldn't you guarantee it for 10 years? I mean, that's the math says it's an 11-year bulb.
This is solid-state technology.
Right. So it's
No
more than the
moving
LED
parts.
that's failing then, and you're guaranteed.
There's nothing. If it lasts 30 days, it's going to last 100,000 hours.
No, I understand that. That's why I'm asking, with that confidence of the technology,
Okay.
why wouldn't you say, hey, we know
Okay.
the math says I can afford to give you a 10-year warranty?
Okay, I can answer that. Number one, any company, well, that's good.
But you're better.
That has a warranty. they have to set aside money reserves to cover that warranty. The industry standard right now is a 5-year warranty and built into the cost is a 5-year warranty reserve to cover that. Now, if though, as an individual school, you said, look, if we can get a 10-year warranty, we're good to go, I will get in writing for you a 10-year warranty. Okay, we don't do it across the board because on an individual basis, Titan will take money and put it in a separate aside account to cover that 10-year warranty.
Right.
In other words, if the company's up to par, doing it right, you spend money for warranty, and it's money in reserve. Well, it doesn't make sense to do it for 10 years for everybody across the board because it's not...
So with that statement alone, you doubled our savings
Yes.
period for the same fixed cost.
Yeah.
If we were to decide to at least do that exploratory exercise.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I just saved us money.
Yes, and if you decided you wanted a 10-year warranty, I can provide you a 10-year warranty.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bob?
Ron didn't leave me much to say, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I was going to get them up to 15. Sit back down.
Just a couple of things that I just want to tell you real quickly. There's some good and bad in this. The good is, since I talked to you guys last time, the cost of LED lighting has come down a little bit with Titan LED lighting. That's the good news. Bad news is, since I talked to you guys last, the power company has raised your power rate 1 cent per kilowatt hour. And I guarantee you, it's not going to go down, it's going to go up. So, obviously, time is of the essence. I mean, things are getting more and more expensive in the world. They're not getting cheaper. And one thing I would challenge all of you to do, we have a website. It's called titanled.net. And on there, on the front part of it, there is a testimonials that you can click on and read some of the testimonials in there. There's a lot of good numbers information in there, which, Kurt, I'm sure you would enjoy, because you are an engineer. And, I mean, guys that are engineers, I have friends of mine that are engineers, and that's just the way they're wired. They're number guys. So, there's some really good information on there about cost savings on some of those testimonials. I have something I want to give each one of the board members, and it's just a folder that has the actual proposal itself. One side is one of the proposals is the inside of the building, and at your request, Rob had asked me. He said that you guys had talked last board meeting about perhaps maybe just like doing a section because you kind of wanted to see a wow factor. Okay, we can do that. The only thing I'm going to tell you, the greatest savings that you're going to have here at the school is doing the inside of the building. That's where the majority of your power is generated here with your lighting throughout the course of the day. And but I'm not telling you how or where to spend your money. You guys, this is totally up to you. Also, I wanted to tell you a little bit. Ron talked about Titan LED and their quality. I'm telling you, there is a ton of Chinese LED junk lighting flooding the market, and it's cheap. And I'll just give you an example. We just outfitted United Locals parking lot with our shoebox lights. They had a problem here a year or two ago, and I guess somebody went out and sliced a bunch of the tires. You guys probably heard about it being on the board, but sliced a bunch of the tires on the school buses. Well, they had no lighting out there at all. And so if you guys get a chance sometime, go out and ride around in the back of the parking lot where the school buses are. And we put, I think, half a dozen of our 146-watt shoebox lights, and we also put wall packs up in front of the garage. And wow, I mean, if you want to see a wow factor, it's really there. But what I wanted to tell you, what they had done previously out there, when they invited us to come out, they had bought 3 of these Chinese, got online and saw these, and, well, in a short amount of time, they expired, and they had to be replaced already. So, look, we've all done it. I've done it, and so have you. We've all tried to save a buck by going the cheap route on something. And I just don't make that mistake with your lighting. And that's all I'm saying. Do the research. Check out what's out there. But I think at the end of the day, you're gonna want to go with a good quality company and a quality light like Titan LED. And something else I want to tell you. I think LED lighting to switch over to the school is one of the only investments the school system will ever make that's going to pay for itself. And That's a pretty important factor. We spend a lot of money, maintaining our schools, but honestly, I think the LED lighting is one of the only projects you'll ever get involved in that's actually going to pay for itself. Is there any questions anybody has? Kurt, you had said something, or Larry, you said something about, just on a technical aspect, one thing I wanted to tell you. These lights here that you currently have in here are what they call an omnidirectional light, okay, which means omnidirectional means the lighting is scattered. It's a round tubular light. And, the lighting goes out, to the sides, it goes, and each one of those lights, each one of those bulbs puts out approximately, a little bit less than 1,000 lumens per bulb down where you need it. The rest of it is scattered, and you really don't get the benefit of it. LED lighting is down lighting, and you can see that our light, it's flat on the bottom, and the light is all focused down. That particular tube light puts out 2,235 lumens of light per bulb. So what we're saying is where you're getting approximately 3,000 lumens out of 3 bulbs, we're going to put out 4,470 lumens with 2. And that's why and I'll tell you, we've already done this. Down at the new building down in Lisbon, the Government Services Building, we just did a test down there right now. We're actually in the process of doing it, but we've already installed the bulbs in the superintendent's office down there. I don't know if anybody knows Eileen that works down there. And they are very, very happy. They went from 3 to 2 bulbs in there. So I know it works. And I know you guys are set up in your classrooms where you have 2 switches where you can turn on two lights, and then if you want the 3rd light, you can turn it on. That option is still available, but honestly, myself, why spend the money if you don't have to? And that's why we had talked about perhaps doing a classroom and then letting you guys come in and take a look at it so you guys get the wow factor of what's happening. I also gave Rob a copy of an article that was just sent to me, just emailed to me yesterday. And it really doesn't have anything to do with LED lighting, but what it has to do with, it talks about the fluorescent tube lighting that's in our schools today versus outdoor lighting versus incandescent lighting, and how it's affecting our children. And I really encourage you, and I would like to, and I told Rob, I gave him that copy of it to read. If you guys would like to read it, I would really encourage all of you to read it. It's pretty powerful, and I didn't even realize it. I met this gentleman the other night. He said, "Boy, I'm going to forward this to you," because he knew we were going to talk to the school board here tonight. And you cannot believe how this fluorescent lighting is affecting our children. The last thing I want to say, I've been from this area for 34 years. I am a graduate of Beaver Local, but I moved up here to Long's Crossing Road 34 years ago. I have 2 sons who both graduated from Leetonia schools. I'm a taxpayer here like you. And listen, I'm all about the better savings, the monthly savings and better lighting, and that's what we provide with Titan LED. So if anybody has any questions, listen, I don't know everything. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm like, actually, I'm not an engineer, but I am kind of a numbers guy. And, LED lighting is pretty much cut and dry. It's math. I'm replacing this many watts with this many watts. And just on the average, I can tell you each one of these fixtures will save you about 64%. So,
How many fixtures were there in the school?
4,000 bulbs.
4,000 bulbs. 4,000 bulbs. Yeah.
I've got the fixture count too in my case. But
No, bulbs.
We 4,000.
yeah.
And the ones in the halls are 2 fixture?
What kind of pardon?
The ones in the hallway are 2 bulb fixtures?
Yes.
And these are 3?
That is correct.
So there, your choice is 2 for 2, not...
Out there it's 2 for 2.
Right, you
yes.
wouldn't take 1 for 2.
Right. In the classrooms is
Where
where
you
you
have the
provide you
savings.
extra savings. Extra savings.
So when you go to a 2-bulb solution,
yes.
your costs not only come down, but your savings go up.
Absolutely.
So that's
correct.
the other, I mean, it's not now close to 4,500 to 5,000. It's more like a 3,200 cost to a 6,000 savings.
That is correct.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
That's exactly. No,
So
correct.
your gain gets better.
Right. And that's why we're saying, I will guarantee you that, as Bob said, this project will pay for itself.
Well, and if you go on lumen output alone,
Right.
the 2 versus 3 is
Yeah, and
possible.
they still have our second year of taxes coming in anyway.
And all we want to do is lock you into an interest rate. So no matter what direction you go in, doesn't matter. You've already been been pre-approved for a higher figure up here, so anything below that's already done.
Who's doing the financing? Who's financing that lease?
I'd have to look at, we have a financing company that has arrangements with banks nationwide.
Okay.
I can give you an exact name if you needed it.
Not immediately. I'd be curious who they are.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, because it's strictly a small, it's a one-page application. All it is numbers that Jennifer already has, I'm sure, in her program. And it's just getting pre-approved, and the name of the bank, it's out of Texas, I believe, the one he's using. Because this is called a commercial lease, not a business. There's a difference.
The question I have is, we just finished up a lease payment for the school on our wireless, and it's through Key Government Finance, because they specifically deal with government.
Right.
Would we be able to finance through a program like that? Or would it actually be a bank that's just more general?
Can we go to our choice of a bank, a financial institution if we want to?
Oh, well, the answer is yes, if you can get a better interest.
Well, some banks are specifically set up for
Right.
government. That's what I'm looking for.
And, but again, that's the other reason for saying, look, if we can get pre-approved with what we have now, you've got a period of time to investigate, because you're not obligating yourself to go with what I'm.
We would take a check for the full amount.
No.
Well, I'm saying you would take that check if we get the money from a third lender.
Oh, yeah,
That's the
right.
same thing.
But if you could get, right, and as I say, I just want to lock
But
in.
if we said tonight, yes, to lock it in, and we
That's
found somebody else better.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Right. No harm, there's no foul, there's no money involved, there's no obligation. You're not,
So then, why not wait till a week if we want to talk about it and then lock it in?
because I may not be able to guarantee it, because the financial rates go up and down.
Oh, but they're not moving much lately.
I can't answer that. As I say, okay.
Well,
Come on, Mike. Chip in there.
That's right.
Pretty stagnant.
Federal Reserve just said they're going to stay steady.
But again, it's not obligating you.
Right, okay.
Right, and again, it's not obligating you whatsoever.
Just go
Yeah.
right.
The other thing would be, if we did go down this path, we would not be using general fund money for it. We would use PI, because we have the tax revenue coming in from there. So it would not affect the general fund at all.
Right.
It would help the general fund. The general fund saves the money, the PI fund pays for the lease. Correct.
Yeah, but the payment will come out of PI.
Right, no, but after 5
But yeah, I know
years,
what you're saying.
it's a,
The savings would be in the general fund, because that's where the electric
after
comes
5
out.
years, it's $300 savings in the general fund.
Okay, thank you.
Listen, we would like to thank the board for the time, and Rob, I would certainly like to thank you. You've been very instrumental. I know you're really would like to do something like this. And just one other thing, I saw in the news the other day where GM just spent $2 million putting the solar panels in up there for a 2% savings. And I don't know, did you guys see that? It was on the news last week, where they put solar panels in. I mean, a great big grid up at the Lordstown plant. Spent $2 million to save 2%. I mean, now that just doesn't add up to me, but that's just me. When I look at the percentage of savings with LED lighting,
Guess what number the 2% is?
well, it's 2% of what? Exactly. Exactly. I don't know how big that is.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Anyone want
Thank
to?
you.
Anyone care to take a look?
Oh, we held them last time.
Huh? Oh, you did?
Or at least whoever was here.
I don't think it was the same one, though.
I don't know, we hit Mike with one of them.
It might be one. No.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking I wanted to.
There's a break. Oh, no. Oh, no. You can hang this one.
One of those Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. All right, so
You can play lightsaber with this. Well, thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can maybe talk with you in the morning.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
With that, let's go to discussion.
Wait. Good.
Let's go to discussion.
We have discussion first.
And then we adjourn.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're throwing me off.
I am throwing you
My
off.
last chance to worry
This is
about
your last president.
On December 5th, Mr. Greenfield put on an elementary Christmas program for kindergarten through fourth. I just want to compliment him. He did a wonderful job. The kids sang great. You could hear them in every part of the gym. A little bit of a logistics issue because basically the attendees were about double than what was expected. But thanks to the staff pulling down the other bleachers and rearranging the stage, just a slight hiccup. It was a great night, and very happy Mr. Greenfield went through and did that.
It was great.
I love what he just said. I was at that night. It was a great night.
Yeah.
Larry?
I'm good.
I'm good.
And I guess at the organizational meeting.
Yes. We are now going to, I need a motion to set the reorganizational meeting on January 8th. At that point, we will elect the new board officers and start the new year. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Was that an all in favor or roll call? All in favor of that date?
Aye.
Thank you.
It's January 8th.
January 8th, 6:30, right here.
First
Is
Thursday.
that the only thing we're doing that day?
We have to appoint a president.
Well, yeah, we're going to appoint a president pro tempore for that meeting.
Usually you appoint yourself, right?
Oh, yeah.
Beyond that.
Does anyone mind if I do one more thing? Okay.
Okay, so we'll appoint Kurt. Okay.
Now we will adjourn to executive session. We have the purpose of considering matters required to be kept confidential by federal laws and/or federal and state regulations. So there will be no action taken. And participants will be those here. Anyone else?
No.
Okay. With that, wish you the best of holidays.
Motion.
Oh, and I need a motion to adjourn in executive session.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Go down to the board office.